Hello and welcome to ThePrint once again, and in continuum to the delimitation discussion that we were talking about. Our second guest for today is Mr. Sri Kumar Kannan. He's a political observer and an analyst who has been looking at the South Indian elections and all the regional parties in Southern India particularly for more than 3 decades now. Hello, sir, and welcome to the discussion this evening. We've just heard Mr. John Brittis, the Rajya Sabha member representing the CPM, and he very eloquently described about how the southern states stand to a fiscal disadvantage, and he talked about threat to federalism. What are your first views on the delimitation exercise, given the fact that the draft bill was only circulated last evening amongst all the parliament members and all the regional parties?
Yes, actually, it's a very important bill, according to me. And it was a couple of months before the issue started that even if before the delimitation exercise is going to come, but in what form, it was unknown. And it was circulated a couple of days before. Yes, I agree. But at the same time, if you see, it was already in the news domain. It was in public domain that it is going to come sooner or later. See, democracy is a dynamic exercise. Census is a dynamic exercise. Similarly, parliamentary procedure is also a very dynamic in nature. See, if you see the census, it was carried out in 1951, 61, and 71. Thereafter, it was frozen due to emergency and other related exercise.
2002, I think there was the fourth exercise, yeah.
Yes, later it was in 2001, the census was carried out, but it was given an assent by the president in the year 2002. So the 84th amendment to the constitution, it was in the year 2001, 2002. So to freeze the, the delimitation until 2026. So this was the basic structure. Later, when the Prime Minister Modi brought in the Nari Shakti, that is the women's reservation, probably the government could have thought that when there is enough representation for women in the constitution, in the parliament, subsequently there should be adequate representation for men also. That could be the basic reason that the expansion of the parliamentary members could have been taken place. That is number one. Number two, I also happened to listen to the arguments of Mr. John Brittis, where I can sense that in case of a wider democracy, there should be a more number of people should have taken place in the active participation in democracy, according to me. For example, there is 543 members at present in the Lok Sabha. But if you ask whether the 543 members actually represent the existing population structure as well as its various dynamics in the Lok Sabha, I doubt. So it needs a wider representation. Regarding the chaotic scenario, I disagree. If there is an order in the parliament, even so many members can have they can add value to the debates. That's numbers doesn't matter here. And regarding the squeezing of the representation for the southern states, since there is a proportional increase in the number of seats, almost around 50%. So I disagree with the opposition's argument that the present delimitation exercise will squeeze or do away with the rights of the southern states.
To bring forth Mr. John Brittis's numbers that he talked about, he said Kerala's numbers in terms of MPs in the parliament is going to go up very, very marginally from 20 to 23. Whereas UPs are going to go up from 80 to 140. So they're going to be 60 more people representing UP, whereas there's just going to be 3 people representing Kerala in addition, if the revised delimitation exercise, as per the revised delimitation exercise. How would you look at something like this? Because as of today, I think there are only 134 members who are going to be representing the southern states, and that's going to go up marginally by, I think, 200 plus members. there's still going to be this huge discrepancy between the North and the South, which is the moot point of the discussion. How would you look at addressing this concern and apprehension?
The issue is brought in by the parties of the southern states, but there is a discrepancy in their argument, particularly related to southern state itself. Take, for example, the present situation is based on the 2011 census, if you can take, because the present government, what it says is it is going to have this amendment delimitation based on the 2011 census. If you take that as a benchmark, see, Tamil Nadu has around 7.21 crores, but it has 39 Lok Sabha seats. Whereas Karnataka, if you say it is 6.65 crores, it is only 28 Lok Sabha seats. So if you want to compare, I don't want to compare between an apple and an orange, between north and south. Within southern states itself, so there is a disparity. And what was the basis that Tamil Nadu was given 39 Lok Sabha seats and Karnataka with 28 Lok Sabha seats? If you go by the proportion of the population between Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, ideally Karnataka should have got around 30 plus seats or 35 seats. But it was only below 30 seats. It has around 28 seats. Whereas in assembly, if you see, Tamil Nadu has 234 assembly constituencies, whereas Karnataka has 224 assembly constituencies. There is only 10 assembly constituency difference between Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. Whereas in Lok Sabha, it has around 39:28, more than 11 constituencies. So if the southern, particularly if the left friends want to, argue between Kerala as well as Uttar Pradesh, so why not argue between Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, which both are southern states? Take, for example, one more activity. See, about for example, Kerala. I'm comparing with Rajasthan. Kerala has a population of 3.34 crores. This is as per 2011 census I am talking about. It has 20 Lok Sabha constituencies. Whereas Rajasthan, which is having 6.86 crore population, which is having 25 Lok Sabha members. So if we compare Kerala as well as Rajasthan, whereas if you see the assembly constituencies, it is 140 assembly constituencies in Kerala and 200 assembly constituencies in Rajasthan. So that will not hold good. Take, for example, even Assam. Assam is 3.12 crores, comparing with Kerala, 3.34 crores. Assam has 126 assembly constituencies, whereas Kerala has 140 assembly constituencies. Coming to Lok Sabha, Kerala has 20 and Assam has only 14. If there is a north-south divide, then what about south and east divide? So I feel, so if Mr. John Britters of left front want to argue that it is based on north-south divide, I feel there is a division within the southern part itself. There is a logic which is being unexplained in southern areas itself, where the Lok Sabha and assembly constituencies, there is disparities. And places like Rajasthan and Kerala, there is disparities. Assam and Kerala has a disparity. So who can explain those logic? That is my question.
I think it's a very interesting set of numbers that you put forth. Given the fact that these disparities and the differences in numbers are so glaring, don't you think the government should have been more prudent to invest a little more time in conducting this exercise? Whether it is Mr. John Britters or whether it's the dozen odd regional political parties in southern India, they're all in a way batting for extending the freeze, maybe not up to 2056, like they're talking another 30 years. But I'm sure another 3 years would really not do much harm, for them to go back to the, drawing board and see how these intra-regional discrepancies can be corrected before the larger delimitation exercise is chalked out across the country.
See, when this 2001, this delimitation took place and the 84th constitutional amendment took place, it was frozen for 25 years. That is from 2001 to 2026. That is ideal. time frame. The reason behind it was the states to redraw their population planning, the migration issues, and other issues related to that, so that they can go back to the drawing board and they can plan accordingly. Now we are in 2026. So, in the 2026, in the current year, if we have to bring the women's reservation bill, it should be based on the next census. That is a catchy point here. So the next census will be on 2031. So whether we have to wait till that time, that is one reason. I agree with you on one issue, that the government has to have a wider consultation because it should not meet the same fate of the farmers' bill, where this particular aspect, it involves a noble objective of giving fair representation to women, especially 33.133%. At the same time, to increase the delimitation exercise, increase the Lok Sabha constituencies based on the delimitation commission's recommendations. So it needs a wider consultations, wider parleys between parties. It needs more feedbacks from the opposition, because the government has to build a consensus, particularly on the constitutional amendment bill. They cannot just like that go ahead with a simple majority on this issue, because not that numbers, but also the opinion of the individual Lok Sabha member or Rajya Sabha member matters, provided if they give a very valid suggestions on this issue. So I feel that wider consultation is required, but per se, the bill or its structure, I don't think there is any harm, as the opposition they feel so.
So, do you think that this population, because from the beginning, 1971 census was something that was taken as the base year. Now, to propose the 2011 census, especially when the 2021 isn't complete, now, do you think that this is somewhere going to benefit, or rather disproportionately benefit North Indian states that haven't been able to control their population, as opposed to higher performing states, for example, some in the south? So do you think this is what's happening right now? Why did they have to change that entire formula, which the earlier NDA had agreed upon, that the 1971 census will remain the base?
See, the 1971 census issue, I don't know for the reason why it took so much time for that chain to be broken, because the 2001, from 1971 to 2001, it was 30 long years where that chain was unbroken. Later, when 2001 it was brought, as you rightly mentioned, the population control issue is very poor as in North Indian state as compared to the southern states. But having said that, even if we go by 2021 census, what is currently planned at it, or the 2026 census, what it is now presently ongoing, or it has started just now, whether that will solve the basic purpose, I doubt, because I don't see any difference between the population pattern what we have seen in 2001 and 2026. So if you see the North Indian states, they maintain the same population ratio as that of the southern states. The southern states, yes, they have an apprehension. If their numbers get minimized, then they have a lesser say, because they have exercised the population control measures more effectively than that of the North Indian states. They have every right to say that. But when it proportionately increase, I don't think there will be any issue here. In that proportion, I could say that the South Indian states should have some more, representation, fair representation, as compared to North Indian states, as the population control is a basic parameter here. So even in that proportionate increase, the southern states should have a fair representation. That's what I feel so. Considering the fact that be it a law and order issue or be it the contribution to the GDP, be it population control measure, be it their infrastructure, their contribution towards infrastructure, the southern states cannot be ignored. So I feel that their voice should be heard. At the same time, it won't change the basic structure of 2001 to 2026. That's my point.
So I think you've brought about and clubbed very important points. You talked about population, you talked about fiscal devolution in a certain way, you talked about better human development indices and infrastructure development as well. I would like to actually threadbare look at some of these issues before we go into the political timing and the reaction to the delimitation exercise, which could probably ensue in the next 3 days, when the parliament convenes. You brought about a very important point saying that, look, even if we were to go by the population census in 2026, it's not going to drastically alter the way we look at the delimitation exercise, which is why I think a lot of the South Indian regional parties, including the left, is talking about according better weightage for population control, given the fact that I'm alluding to the same example that you just gave seconds ago, saying that in southern India, fertility rates continue to fall, whereas in northern India, I think they remain more or less steady if they've not increased or worked for the better. So can population be the single factor that will drive the delimitation exercise, or should there be other factors that should also be included, like you just alluded to?
I feel multiple factors should be there to assess the situation. But as Mr. Revant Reddy also gave up with a new formula that it should be 50% of the population and 50% of the GDP contribution. Then it could be also disastrous for the southern states because presently Maharashtra and Gujarat contribute more towards the GDP. So that may not be the valid argument according to me. So I would feel that when the delimitation commission, because presently what the bill per se is not going to fix any specific number for any specific state. It is going to appoint a delimitation commission. And the delimitation commission's recommendation will be binding on the number of seats. So the delimitation commission should consider so many aspects, including the human index, including the health and other parameters, the population control index, the education index, the infrastructure index, everything. So that those states which exercise those parameters in an effective way, they should have a fair representation. At the same time, they should set an example for the other states so that they can also follow those formula to maintain that level of importance in the democracy. Because number one is, if population alone is a basic parameter, then it will be disastrous. Because if the other states also think in that way, that we will also have more children as what we are having in other states, then it could lead to the opening up of a floodgate. So that should not be the case. At the same time, the other aspects has to be taken into consideration, particularly the human development index, according to me. At the same time, what it is, the politics behind it is also very ill-timed. See, for example, what has happened, what has come across the government's mind, according to me, is Prime Minister Modi want to have the 2029 Lok Sabha elections with 33.33% of women representation. That's what he expects to do so, number one. Second, if he wants to do that, then to the same extent, the number of representation to men may go down, politically speaking. So he may have thought So if women given more representation, it would give a lesser representation to men comparing to the earlier Lok Sabha. So we have to increase the men's representation also equally so that they don't, it will have a balancing aspect. On one side, you will say that 33.33% women representation is given. At the same time, this increase in number of seats also provide a cushion effect for male politicians. That is number one. Second, the hurdle here is the census, because the current census may take 2 to 3 years time. Before that, the 2029 Lok Sabha election could have got concluded. So they want to de-link the present census with this women's representation bill and delimitation happening. So what to do? They have to rely on the older census, which was 2011 census. So that could be the basic thought which would have come across the government's mind while they drafted this bill and presenting it towards the parliament.
Interesting that you say this, because you're saying that, look, a bunch of men could be sulking about women getting more representation, which is why we'll decide to go ahead and give them a larger size and create some sort of a level playing field, however obtuse that may look. But I'd like to, I mean, because you talked about political timing, why did they have to really, bring it bang in the between of the elections? We still have Tamil Nadu and West Bengal that are yet to go to polls. Did they think that throwing some kind of a smoke bomb would really ensure that there's far little debate and fewer discussions in the parliament, and they could somehow sleepwalk through the whole thing?
That could be one aspect. The other aspect is to gain more political mileage. See, what happened is we cannot deny the fact that whatever Mr. Modi is doing, it is without any politics. Mr. Modi breathes politics. He lives politics. So what I can sense is not only that to disarm the opposition, particularly the DMK and the Trinamool Congress, on the eve of the elections, they will be finding them very difficult to participate in the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha to give their opinion. Because of the simple reason, if you see, the BJP and ADMK has no representation in Tamil Nadu, especially in Lok Sabha. They have some representation in Rajya Sabha. ADMK has representations, but in Lok Sabha, they don't have any representation. Similarly, in West Bengal, they have only 12 MPs, and most of their, the famous faces, they are still fighting it out. Subhendu Adhikari is not a Lok Sabha member. Dilip Ghosh is not a Lok Sabha member. So the main people will be away from the campaigning, away from the Lok Sabha. They will be into the campaigning. That is also number one. Second thing is, Mr. Modi wants to capitalize that he champions the women's rights, because all those schemes what he has brought in, it was more women centric, starting from a house or opening a Jandan account, or to have a water connection, gas cylinder connection, toilet facilities, whatever it may be. They are more women centric, and he wants to carry on that legacy, that not only the schemes, but also he brought in the women's reservation, because it was a triple talaq also. The women's reservation he brought in at the time, and it was passed in 2023. It was blocked for decades together. Even Vajpayee, even Sonia Gandhi could have thought to bring it, but it was just a customary one. More cosmetic in nature when it passed in Rajya Sabha during the UPA time. Later, but it passed more smoothly in Mr. Modi's time. So what I could sense is he wants to bring that amendment into force in 2029 Lok Sabha itself. That is the urgency of Prime Minister Modi to bring the women's reservation into effect in 2029 Lok Sabha elections. So for doing that, he has to do away with the existing census. And the second one, politically speaking, as I mentioned earlier, he has to give a cushion effect to the male politicians. So for that, it has to be delimitation happening. So if you see the wider picture, I am seeing it as an observer's point of view that these could be the issues that could have prompted Mr. Modi to act on this issue, to bring them as a package, not as an individual bill.
Mr. Kannan, now that you've also stressed on this that the government needs to have a more consultative process, but haven't done so. Do you think that by pushing this bill, by railroading this entire bill into implementation, do you think that this is going to do more harm for the federal relationships that are also very strained at the moment? We've seen southern states over devolution. We've seen them now raise their voice. So all of this added, do you think this will add to this strain between the federal structure in the country if the government, if the central government continues to push on this bill?
No, I don't think so. Beyond certain point, they can't do so. That is, I mean to say, the southern states cannot push their issue, their point beyond certain limits, the politics beyond certain limits. Because if you see the pushing through of this bill, I have seen that when the cabinet cleared this, Prime Minister Modi himself gave out a speech on this issue. He wrote letter to the different floor leaders seeking their support. There could be back channel, negotiations which take place. Regarding southern states, you are mentioning, Mr. Chandrababu Naidu himself is hailing from a southern state who is a pillar of support for this government. So when he supports the bill, then it automatically disarms the opponents to some extent because he is not from any other state. So he is also a part of the southern states. I agree that Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Telangana, and even Kerala, they may feel that yes, it is a southern part, is an exclusive part, but Chandrababu Naidu is a chink in the armor of the southern states. So that is number one. Number two, regarding wider consultation, I can still say that more wider consultation is possible. As much as we can go for it. But it is not correct to assume that this government has not at all made any step towards consultation. Because during the previous session of the Lok Sabha, previous session of the Parliament, that is before it was not adjourned sine die. So during that time itself, it was mentioned that these bills are supposed to come. And there was a gap due to festive holidays and other things. Elections also, because the political parties, they made a representation to the government that we need time for campaigning. So it was suspended for a brief time. And it is being reconvened. So I don't think it is rushing as such, as they did for the farmers' bill. But at the same time, if you ask, wider consultation is possible, whether it is needed, I can still say yes, we can go for wider consultation. I still feel if there is no consensus, it is evolving. This bill can go to the joint parliamentary committee once again, and later it may come through. Mr. Modi could have thought about it. That is the reason if we set the ball rolling now, by the time before the next parliament session convenes, especially during the monsoon session or the winter session, probably he wants to pass them through before the Uttar Pradesh Assembly elections.
So I'm saying that in essence, you're saying that we ought to be prepared for a very stormy parliament session the next 3 days. You expect a lot of fireworks probably, and that this could get rolled on for a couple more parliament sessions before it gets passed. And they're able to see the political gains accrue before the Uttar Pradesh election.
Yes, because everybody are thinking that they are timed towards West Bengal and Tamil Nadu elections. I don't think so. Because if you want to understand Mr. Modi, we have to think like Mr. Modi. Like it could be based on Uttar Pradesh Assembly elections. Before that, he want to get it passed and he want to champion this point during those elections. So if you put the ball rolling now only, I think it will get passed through next couple of sessions.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us. I think you've brought up some very, very interesting points. You've taken us back to the drawing board with respect to a lot of numbers. And you've also taught us to look at politics from a BJP's point of view and Prime Minister Modi's point of view. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll probably dial back to have you on board with us over the course of the next 3 days. Very interesting debates and discussions coming up in the Parliament.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kannan. Thank you.
Thank you.